suicide bomber, praising his son, urging other young Palestinians to die for the cause as well. Enormous pressure now on Ariel Sharon, Israel's prime minister, to strike back, but so far he's holding back, settling for now to seal off Palestinian areas. Israel giving Yasser Arafat time to do what he said he'd do, stop the violence, and more. Israel insists he lock up known terrorists.
And the most important thing is to go along with what he have declared and to see whether he is serious, yes or no.
While Arafat may be serious, it's unclear just how much control he has over Palestinian militants, some of whom want nothing to do with a ceasefire.
I think there is consensus between the Palestinians to continue the intifada until to put an end for the Israeli occupation.
Here in Washington, the U.S. Secretary of State called off a trip to Costa Rica so he could work the phones. Colin Powell telling Yasser Arafat to clamp down on extremists and urging Ariel Sharon not to retaliate.
I would encourage him to keep having this measured response so that we don't get into another cycle that takes us off into, frankly, a new, worse than just a new direction of terror, but into an abyss that we might not be able to get out of.
Israeli officials say they'll give Arafat another day or two, time to see whether he can make good on his promise of a ceasefire, and time for Israel to finish burying his children. Alan Fryer, CTV News, Washington.
The Crown Prince of Nepal, proclaimed king after he allegedly killed 8 members of the royal family, died of his wounds tonight. His uncle has been named the new king. According to government sources, a 29-year-old Dipendra turned a gun on himself after shooting his family, including his father, on Friday. But the palace said it was an accident, a proposition many Nepalese are finding hard to believe. Grieving and angry crowds filled the streets of Kathmandu today, demanding to know the truth. Matt Fry filed this report earlier today from Nepal.
The mood on the streets is one of grief mixed with disbelief and anger. All day long, throngs of bald-headed mourners have been converging on the palace, demanding to know what exactly happened behind these ornate gates. The silent sorrow of the masses is a far cry from the vicious family row that apparently erupted on Friday night at dinner. It now appears that the Queen, who was famously strong-headed, disagreed with her eldest son about his choice of bride. According to palace sources, Crown Prince Dipendra donned battle fatigues and shot almost his entire family before turning the gun on himself. He may be brain-dead and a murderer, but for now he has been declared king according to the constitution. People are hungry for information, but they won't find much in the official press, nor at the palace gates, where a new explanation is being peddled.
The accidental firing of an automatic weapon.
The accidental firing of an automatic weapon?
That's right.
How could someone fire accidentally an automatic weapon in a family gathering?
These details I don't know. But
you really believe that story?
It's a true story.
What happened here would have been deeply shocking in any family, in any part of the world. But in this mountain kingdom, where the king was revered by many as a living god, the events inside the palace have left people traumatized, stunned, and confused. Matt Fry, ABC News, Kathmandu.
At the Vatican today, there were prayers and praise for one of the most revered popes, Pope John the 23rd. Dressed in a white tunic and carried in a see-through coffin, his body was moved to a new resting place inside St. Peter's Basilica. Nicknamed the Good Pope, John the 23rd transformed the church. He convened Vatican II and ended the Latin Mass. He died 38 years ago today. In the fight against AIDS, a bleak anniversary this week is being marked by sobering news. 2 decades after the first case was diagnosed in North America and years after it looked like the AIDS epidemic was under control on this continent, the rate of infection is once more on the rise. The question is, why? Here's CTV's Samantha Shatsky.
Louise Binder takes 13 different pills every day. The combination of drugs keeps her alive. Binder was diagnosed with HIV 8.5 years ago. She was told then she had 4 years to live.
Yes, I was planning to die.
Then Binder started taking a new breed of drugs called protease inhibitors. So far, they are keeping her virus in check. But although the drugs extend life for those with HIV, they are not a cure.
Do you think this is acceptable? No!
20 years ago this week, North America's first case of HIV was diagnosed in Los Angeles. In Toronto, people gathered to remember those who have died.
Doug Fraser, Paul Mercier.
Since 1981, almost 30,000 people have died in Canada from AIDS. 50,000 Canadians are now living with the disease. But after many years of decline in HIV cases, the numbers are again on the rise in Canada for certain segments of society. Since 1996, there has been a 38% increase in infection among gay males, and new infections among women increased by 48%.
It's called apathy, it's called lack of education and lack of awareness.
Researchers say the new AIDS drugs have given people a false sense of security.
We are eons away from a cure. None of the drugs that we have now is capable of eradicating HIV.
Binder knows AIDS can hit anyone. She contracted the virus from her ex-husband. Now she is one of the country's most vocal advocates, lobbying the government for more money towards research and awareness.
Yes, I do believe this will become, at least someday, a chronic manageable disease.
Federal funding for AIDS and HIV research has not increased in the past 10 years, despite the fact during the same period of time, the number of people diagnosed with HIV has increased by more than 200%. Samantha Shadsky, CTV News, Toronto.
And one other number to add to all the grim statistics. Within Canada's Aboriginal population, the number of HIV cases increased by 91% over the last 5 years. If you live in North and West Vancouver, you are getting the most effective health care in Canada. That is according to a new ranking by Maclean's magazine, which analyzed 15 specific indicators like life expectancy, doctor-patient ratios, and availability of surgical services like knee and hip replacements, and then ranked the country by region. In the top 10, North and West Vancouver, South Okanagan, an area west of Toronto that includes Mississauga, Edmonton, Saskatoon, Victoria, London, Calgary, Toronto, and Hamilton. At the other end of the spectrum are largely rural regions: Sudbury, Cape Breton, Prince George, Prince Edward Island, and North Bay, Huntsville, Ontario. Federal Tories are looking for a new party president. Jacques Leger has resigned for what he says are personal reasons. Leger downplayed rumors of an internal rift, one between himself and party boss Joe Clark. So too did Clark. But despite the positive spin, the Tories may have cause for concern. Here is CTV's Lisa Laflamme.
Internal troubles over how Tory talks with the alliance should proceed became public with the resignation plans of party president Jacques Leger.
Well, are you stepping down or not?
Thank you very much.
Initially, Leger, an advocate of uniting the right, didn't want to confirm or deny anything, but his leader did. Joe Clark says it was just prior to this high-profile event with former leader Brian Mulroney that Leger chose to share his plans to quit.
Literally, just as I was going down to speak, his suggestion that he might tender his resignation, we agreed not to settle it then.
They settled it here at this management committee meeting, a tete-a-tete behind closed doors with 34 other members. When they emerged hours later, the two presented a common, amiable compromise. Leger is stepping down as president, but staying on the committee.
In diplomacy, you say frank and virile discussion, and today it's been resolved to, I believe, certainly
everyone satisfied.
Everyone.
Leger denied his resignation had anything to do with Clark's go-slow approach to a cooperation with the alliance.
The concerns I expressed have been aired, voiced, and addressed.
One concrete result, an intense consultation process to determine the merger mood of the members.
I think some people feel that, you know, let's wait it out and see what happens to them. They appear to be imploding, so why would we rush into something?
That implosion continued this weekend for Alliance leader Stockwell Day with an even more graphic call for his resignation.
There's a cancer in our alliance, and it grows every day. We lose support every day.
With the alliance coming apart, it is crucial that Joe Clark keep a lid on trouble in his own party. That means, whether he likes it or not, embracing a variety of views on how and when the two parties could become one. Lisa Laflamme, CTV News, Ottawa.
With the crack of a bat, baseball history was made in Toronto today. Boston slugger Manny Ramirez blasted his way into the record books.
0-2 from Carpenter to Ramirez. He hung one and man,
he hit the longest home run ever at the Sky Dome. The ball soared all the way up into the fifth deck, a distance of 491 feet, a good 3 feet farther than the old record. Boston went on to win the game 5-4. Still ahead tonight, code red in the classroom.
No students in the hallways.
Teaching children how to survive when a real killer strikes. And later,
I cannot serve.
a chameleon named Quinn, the life and death of an Oscar-winning legend. It is all still to come on CTV News.
Subway sandwiches are perfect for active summer days.
Feeling good, having fun in the sun. Subway's taste is #1.
Subway has 7 delicious fresh-made sandwiches with just 6 grams of fat or less. Subway, eat fresh.
Pontiac, Montana, with available Montana Vision built-in color monitor and video cassette player. The new Pontiac Montana, 1.9% purchase financing, built for drivers and their families.
Just a minute. I said just a second.
This summer, science can't help you.
Snag one. I've seen this movie. The black dude dies first.
Doctors can't help you.
Whoa, Doc! Don't take the leg!
Sitting for crotch.
Dang it, take the leg!
Because they're here to wipe that silly smile off your planet.
That's like a big loogie.
Evolution starts this Friday.
We'd like to show you our underwear. Not that you can see it. Introducing Tenna Protective Underwear for bladder control problems. The discreet maximum protection pants that pulls on and off like underwear. Who says the obvious choice has to be obvious? Tenna Protective Underwear. For a free sample, call 1-866-GET-TENNA. A breakthrough in dignity.
It's not just a new sign. It's a new Midas. Expanded services, new genuine Midas parts, a lifetime guarantee. We're more than mufflers. We're a new way to keep a good thing going. Go Midas.
At schools across America, a life and death course is being added to the curriculum. Survival training. From kindergarten to senior high school, students are being taught how to stay out of the line of fire if there's a school shooting. As CTV's Rosemary Thompson reports, it is a sad sign of the times, as well as a lesson that could be a lifesaver.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty.
At Herbert Hoover Middle School, it seems like a regular day. It's not.
Students and staff, I would like to indicate that we are in Code Red drill.
A drill to prepare teachers and children for a school shooting.
Any students in the hallways? No students in the hallways. Door is locked. Please quickly, quietly sit down. Again, no talking at all.
Locked doors, covered windows, and absolute silence. As if a killer was stalking the halls. Silence broken only by security staff testing door handles.
This is good. This is locked. It's quiet.
In room 111, this grade 6 math class passes.
This one's open.
A few others fail. An open door could mean death.
We did find a couple of classrooms that were open, but that's a learning experience for the principals.
It's a problem that inspires many questions from these 10 and 11-year-olds.
Like, you could be panicking and start either, like, crying or, like, screaming because you're so scared.
They, like, shut the window and the door and they tried to open it. What would you do? Like,
What would I do?
yeah, like,
We would still try to stay very quiet, because if we stayed quiet and they shot, they would say, gee, there's nobody in here. They're not even reacting to the noise.
The drills are spreading across the country in the wake of school shootings. It's the same drill from kindergarten to high school.
I would say a kid like this is going to have nightmares, if not night terrors, flashbacks, maybe even experiences where he doesn't want to return to school.
It's fine. We're checking you.
It may be traumatic, but principals defend it.
And I just don't want to get to a point wherever we have to have police officers in the building, then we start to put the bars on the windows.
This is the end of the Code Red drill.
The end of a disturbing lesson on school violence. Rosemary Thompson, CTV News, Rockville, Maryland.
And another news tonight. Police and wildlife officers are looking for a killer bear near a campground east of Yellowknife. An 18-year-old man was attacked and killed yesterday. Officials say the bear is wounded and are telling people to stay out of the area. Edmonton paramedics are back on the job. The city was planning to take the union to court for violating a back-to-work order, but before that happened, the two sides got together and agreed to resume negotiations. And a very special painting arrived in Winnipeg, the only oil painting of Winnie the Pooh, done by illustrator E.H. Shepard. It was bought at auction in England last summer for a cool $250,000. The bear, named after Winnipeg, will be housed at a Poohseum. In the theater world, the night belonged to Mel Brooks' Broadway hit The Producers. The musical, based on the 1967 movie, has won an unprecedented 12 statues, dominating the 2001 Tony Awards in New York City.
The 2001 Tony Award for Best New Musical goes to... They've broken the record. The Producers.
Now, aside from winning Best Musical of the Year, Brooks himself is taking home 3 awards, including Best Producer. His cast also won top honors. Nathan Lane won for Best Actor, beating out his own co-star, Matthew Broderick. Next in this newscast, compounding a case of workplace complaints. What would you do if the official investigating poor working conditions takes the job with the company? Gold Talk fights back. That is coming up on CTV News.
Ah, you're here.
Hi.
Oh, I know. It's just, wow. Your gums look good, and your teeth are so white.
In addition to fighting cavities, new Colgate Total Plus Whitening provides clinically proven protection between brushings and will help get your teeth their absolute whitest.
The tooth fairy in my chair. Small world.
Small world? Try flying around it 2 or 3 times a night.
Colgate, the choice of today's dentists and hygienists.
Subway sandwiches are perfect for active summer days.
Feeling good, having fun in the sun. Subway's taste is #1.
Subway has 7 delicious fresh-made sandwiches with just 6 grams of fat or less. Subway, eat fresh.
Canadians have places to go, things to do, so they go Midas. Alignment, we do that. Air conditioning, we do that. Brakes, we do that. So for total car care by certified technicians, who does it all? Midas. We do that.
Local stories we'll have after the CTV National News. The new Green Alliance Party asks the provincial government to go green. We catch up with a young boy walking across the country for children's rights in divorce, and a look at an extreme horse competition in Saskatoon.
Just a little country fair? Think again. Your local fair is likely a member of SASSY, the Saskatchewan Association of Agricultural Societies and Exhibitions. SASSY is an umbrella organization for over 60 agricultural societies and proud to be celebrating the International Year of the Volunteer. Your local fair gives livestock breeders a chance to promote their animals, gives young people a chance to learn about agriculture, strengthens the 4-H movement, and gives your local community a real boost. So the next time you attend a local fair, you're taking part in something to be proud of, and the SASSY tradition lives on.
We chose white because it was
clean
and simple.
I just wanted a splash of color.
Kind of kooky, a little pizzazz.
Different strokes for different folks, all at one store.
Went to Home Depot, now I'm painting.
She makes it easy so she can make it gorgeous.
It's a custom color from CIL.
You can do it.
It's easy.
Yeah.
That's all there, right there.
I love Ralph Lauren. This looks good.
Thank you. I'm so glad I went to Home Depot first.
Home Depot, first in home improvement.
2 years ago, an American-owned company called Ron Weber & Associates opened for business in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Ever since, some of its employees have complained about working conditions. They took their grievances to a government labor officer who championed their cause until last May. That is when he left the civil service for Ron Weber & Associates. The workers felt abandoned, and that is when they called CTV's Dale Goldhawk to fight back.
2 of these women left their jobs at Ron Weber & Associates. One is still trying to hang on to hers.
Working conditions were terrible.
there was anywhere from 40 to 60 people jammed in one room, which is a classroom, not an office.
For 2 years, the company has rented space at a community college. Working conditions reached new lows last November when a mysterious gas seeped into the classroom. Many were taken to hospital.
I've lost my voice a number of times on the phone. I had tingling sensations in my head. I had a severe headache.
Even before this emergency, there were problems. Complaints of stuffy, dirty workplaces, extreme office temperatures, tough daily telephone call quotas, and harsh words from bosses. About 30 out of a workforce of 180 complained to the Ministry of Labor.
They would holler at us, threaten us. You don't like it, there's the door.
And people are scared to death to say anything because they need the job.
Dave Mullins was the Ministry of Labor caseworker who was trying to negotiate better conditions for the workers at Ron Weber. In April, he got a better job himself, Human Resources Manager at Ron Weber.
It just blew me away. He was working for the company that we've been complaining to him about.
Mullins says there is no conflict of interest here. He announced his new job in a letter to the Labor Ministry. There was no reply.
I went on the assumption that no response meant that there was no conflict of interest.
The Deputy Minister of Labor agrees there is no conflict of interest, but there is a code of conduct. For 6 months, Labor Ministry officials and Dave Mullins will have no official contact.
The prohibition that's in the Department of Human Resources policy says that you can't deal with the province for a 6-month period. Doesn't mean you can't work for somebody and do some other things.
Back at the company, Mullins promises better times when the company moves into new office space later this year. And he's given all his workers his home telephone number.
So I made it very clear that we have an open-door policy here now. Not to say that that didn't exist before, but the rules and regulations have been laid out.
So a promise to make it better, but can he?
Well, he's the Human Resources Manager. If he can't make it better, I don't know who can.
And I suppose the workers can go to somebody else in the interim if they have a problem.
Well, they can go to somebody else at the Labor Ministry and then deal with somebody else at the company. That's how it would have to happen for 6 months. That's true.
Now, Dale, there is federal and provincial money in this project?
About $4 million. $4 million to create 180 jobs. That's $22,000 a job. Seems a bit expensive. But then again, you know, the unemployment rate in Sydney is 18%.
Okay, Dale, thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
And to review the information contained in Dale's report, you can go to his website at goldhawk.com. When we return, Anthony the Great, the passing of a big screen giant.
Our aircraft are coddled and pampered. Our technicians treat them like babies. They just wouldn't use those words.
Hi, I'm Art Drysdale. For years, I've been telling you about a remarkable garden tool that I wouldn't be without. This is the Garden Claw Gold with its adjustable height feature. The Garden Claw Gold virtually eliminates bending and lifting, and that's great news for your back. Simply turn the handles and the hardened steel tines rip through all types of soil, even heavy clay. It cultivates, loosens, aerates, and weeds, all at the same time with little effort. It's perfect for mixing in peat moss and fertilizer, and it's ideal for working around all types of plants and shrubs without damaging vital root systems. Don't let your gardening become a chore. Ask anybody who's used one. The Garden Claw Gold, with its lifetime guarantee, not only makes gardening easier, but a lot faster and a great deal more fun. It's a perfect gift idea all season long.
Garden Claw Gold is available at Canadian Tire, Zellers, participating co-op, and Walmart.
At Mr. Lube, this is the way we see your car. It's a complex system of fluids. Oil, radiator, transmission, even washer fluid.
Any more
all done.
Mr. Lube, doing it right before your eyes.
Doug lived in an institution. He didn't go outside for 2 years straight.
What drives one man's obsessive quest to help another recover? The award-winning documentary Breakaway, a tale of two survivors. June 17th on CTV. Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by the Globe and Mail. Well written, well read. To subscribe, call 1-866-36-GLOBE.
A look now at our news agenda for tomorrow. Moscow detectives arrive in Ottawa to investigate the death of Catherine McLean, the woman allegedly hit by a Russian diplomat who was driving drunk. In Moscow, Defense Minister Art Eggleton will discuss arms control with his Russian counterpart. And beginning Monday, gay and lesbian couples can register as domestic partners in Halifax. Two-time Oscar winner Anthony Quinn, one of Hollywood's most colorful personalities, has died. In a career that spanned nearly 6 decades, Quinn appeared in more than 100 films. On screen and off, he was larger than life. He had 3 wives, 3 mistresses, and fathered 13 children. But more than anything, he's probably best remembered for his role as a feisty Greek peasant, Zorba. With more on the man, his movies, and his legacy, here is Brian Rooney.
Anthony Quinn was born in Mexico, but he had a chameleon-like quality that allowed him to play just about any ethnicity on Earth. Of course, he played a Mexican in the 1995 film A Walk in the Clouds, but he played Italians, he played an Arab in Lawrence of Arabia.
I cannot serve.
He played Filipinos, American Indians, and most famously, a Greek, Zorba the Greek, in 1964.
All right. We go outside where God can see us better.
Anthony Quinn was smuggled into the United States back during the days of Pancho Villa. As a young man, he worked with the architect Frank Lloyd Wright, who sent Quinn to acting school to improve his English. His debut in feature films came in 1936, his last film in 1996. He brought to the screen a bigness of character. He played men with an appetite for living and wisdom derived from a lot of it. He played men who faced adversity with a dance. Anthony Quinn was 86 when he died in Boston. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Hollywood.
Thank you for joining us here at CTV News this weekend. CTV Newsnet and Canada AM will bring you up to date in the morning. I'm Sandy Ronaldo. Lloyd Robertson will be here tomorrow. Have a good night and a good week ahead. Your local newscast is next.
CTV News, Canada's most watched newscast. CTV Newsnet is first, fast, and informative. CTV Newsnet brings you up-to-the-minute business reports. CTV Newsnet delivers your news 24 hours a day. Turn to CTV Newsnet News now. CTV, Canadian Television.
Warham's key tags are a symbol of our work for child amputees. Through the CHAMP program, children receive the artificial limbs they need to lead active lives. As they grow up, the Warhamps will be there, providing information, guidance, and so much more. The Warhamps, amputees helping amputees. Thanks to your support of the key tag service, lost key return now by courier.
Michelin tires are back on the Formula One starting grid and are racing to make you a winner. Enter the Race to Win sweepstakes at an authorized Michelin dealer, and you could be on track to win from total prizes worth over $250,000. Michelin will draw over 1,000 lucky winners, and one of them will drive away with a brand new BMW Z3. Pit stop at your nearest Michelin retailer by June 15th. Enter the Race to Win sweepstakes, and you could find yourself in the winner's circle.